there, it's Lee from Mobile Automotive Services, taking you through another repair video, this time on a 2012 Ford Focus. It is a 1.6 diesel engine, and the customer's complaint is of a engine management light. So the first step, I've already plugged it in, but I'm going to take you through this one because I think it's actually quite an interesting So we're using the Snap-on Veris for this diagnosis. It's a 2012 and it is a Focus with the 1.6 diesel engine. Now, which of these would it be? Select engine type. I'll try this one for the crack. Okay. I have the dongle already connected with the ignition on. Now we're going to run through the powertrain control module or the engine management ECU. Ignition is switched on. And we'll go to our codes menu. Remember, this is the original complaint of a fault code. The interview with the customer, she told me that when the light flashes there is a power loss in the vehicle. I've already had this in before. That's what we have here. P02CF, cylinder 2 fuel injector offset learning at max limit. Cylinder 2 fuel injection offset learning at max limit. So two are the same. Not really concerned about the AC pressure sensor data. Is there any freeze frame data? I don't believe that there is. So we have two codes for both pertaining to cylinder 2 fuel injection offset learning at max limit, and the third one is an AC refrigerant pressure sensor circuit low input. The third one should be fairly easy to rectify, given that the sensor for the AC circuit, sorry it's very dark in here, is there, and the electrical connector is there, so these two need to be mated again. Easier said than done. Now, so we'll clear the codes. Probably best not to clear the codes just yet because we're still working on this cylinder 2 problem. Now, what this code is pertaining to is the amount of adjustments that the ECU is making to the pulse width of the injector. When an injector becomes mechanically faulty, to inject the required volume of diesel for the operating requirements, the computer needs to increase or decrease the amount of the pulse width of the electrical signal going to it. Once that reaches a maximum amount, the injector would need to be replaced or refurbished. We actually have a replacement unit from Ford which we're going to fit today. To access it, it's fairly straightforward. There is like a foam rubber sound deafening pad that needs to be removed, but to access that you have to remove this piece of inlet tract which has a shut-off valve inside it. A 10mm nut and an 8mm bolt and a couple of clips holding these fuel lines on just need to be moved out of the way, and access is very good. The electrical connector, let's get you some lights actually. Give me 1 second now. Just to show you that AC sensor there that's now been plugged back in, that should cure that problem. You have the injectors 1, 2, 3 and 4. Our focus is on number 2 here. We're going to remove the return lines. These little green tabs just need to be pulled up. Get a few rags to mop up any excess that might be, and then underneath that we need to take off the high pressure line, which is, I'll just move this out of the way, this connector out of the way, which is that union there. Being very careful not to twist twist the banjo bolt, so using the 2 spanners there, and then it should just be I believe it's a Torx head bolt underneath this this other sound deadening pad here, so might be a little bit of fiddling involved, but I'm sure we'll be okay. Once we have the old one out, we'll inspect it, insert the new one and program it in. The reason why the injectors need to be programmed after a job like this is because each one is calibrated to a specific injection volume, I suppose. A new one, the computer needs to be told that a new one is put in so it can reevaluate the condition of the injector. Okay, so I'll keep you posted along the way. So about 15 minutes work and the injector is out. Now, so we can get the camera to focus. The head of that injector is very, very black and dirty with carbon. So what's involved is, I said, removing the initial piece of sound deadening. Then you have some sound deadening here, which is quite difficult to remove to get clearance to the bolt that holds the injector clamp in place. So I just took a Stanley blade and just get a bit of light and just cut through it there, just enough to lift it out of the way to reveal the bolt hole. The bolt is a 12 female Torx head, and that holds down a clamp which can then be pulled out of the way, and then the injector didn't give much resistance, thank goodness, because they can be a bit of a pig sometimes to remove. Important to note that when you're replacing an injector like this, this washer, this copper washer should be replaced as well. And the camera is now sort of focused on that injector tip. You can see how sort of black and carbonized that is, and the holes on these injector nozzles are very, very fine, so it's quite understandable that that they soot up. Now this could be reconditioned. The customer wanted to go for a new one. That's absolutely fine by me. So I'm going to pop the new one in now, and I'll run through with you the process for programming. So once you have the new injector installed, the process for resetting and reprogramming the injector is as follows. In the engine management or the powertrain control module, go to engine, continue. This is with the ignition key on. Choose the functional tests menu, service functions, and choose fuel injection correction values. Continue there. Give you a bit of information. This is what I quite like about the Snap-on Verus, is that it's fairly sort of idiot proof. It tells you the code to look for on the injector to actually type in that gives you some information on the injector positions. Some injectors are seated 1, 2, 3, 4, where this is the timing chain engine, 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of them are the other way around, where this is the flywheel end. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gives you a nice bit of information there. Now, injector 2 is one we've replaced. I've actually already programmed this in, but the process, just to run through, you click edit, you take that's the old ID, which is actually the new ID, and then you take the new 6-digit code which is printed on top of the injector and type it in. Okay, but we don't need to do that, as it's already done. Once you do that, click OK, and then you're done. And then you can reset the learned values on the fuel injector, which will reset all the values of all the injectors. And then the most important thing is a test drive afterwards, so that the injectors can relearn themselves, the ECU can relearn its fueling parameters, and that will sort of address any idling issues that you might have subsequent to replacing the injector. And that's it. That is how you fit and program a fuel injector on a Ford Focus diesel. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll catch you next time.